my goals is all time goals as in terms of my career is I definitely I want to help try and revitalize the American comic industry. You know, that's really one of my goals, and that's one, it benefits me and my like a long term career
Yeah.
is if you invest in this actual market. If you see any success and you actually invest in the market that your work is in and that your livelihood depends on, that's very important. And I think that this market just needs a lot of investment to rebuild. Like this market doesn't have any investment because it's not government funded. Um, so it just takes investment from big time successful creators that have the means to invest. So that's definitely one of my goals, long term goals, is really investing in infrastructure and building comic book shops, investing in comic book shops, keeping them alive,
Hmm.
investing in different distribution options, alternatives, printing costs, and in-house printers and stuff like that. But really expanding, like in getting books into every single cash register that you can get your work into. Any cash register stand should have comics and not just magazines. Like Marvel and DC, they have no excuse. They have the infrastructure to be there.
Yeah.
They actually have the funds to be there, but they don't want to. They don't want to. They don't value the craft. They don't. Those corporations don't value comics to invest in distributing their work to every cash register in major retailer stores, which will boost this market skyrocket, right? It will
Yeah,
skyrocket.
for sure.
If it just sits there for 5, 10 years for a generation to grow up seeing that. That's all it takes. It's one generation to grow up seeing those books on that cash register when they go to a grocery store, go to any store, right? So
Yeah, the problem is a lot of the art forms out here that make, because at the end of the day, all those businesses and corporations, all they care about is just making as much money as they can, and all they
yeah,
invested a lot of more of the money into things like music, movies, TV shows. So that's where they're trying to put all their money into and profiting off of. And whereas like artistic forms like comics, which at the end of the day is a subgenre and a niche, especially out here, it just won't ever get that love. And not anymore, unless it's like that popular, you know what I'm saying? And even we go back to the webtoon or the web comic thing, that is
yeah,
definitely a new phenomenon. Like what was that? Lore Olympus was a webtoon that's like one of the best selling comics out right now. Solo Leveling is super popular right now. So there's like a lot of different methods to what can be done. I really like the fact that you think about a lot of stuff, because I'm just like the same way as you, where I'm definitely thinking about that stuff all the time. It's just like what I can do, how I can help people, how I
yeah.
can, like studying other people's careers and what they're doing and their paths and their journeys and stuff like that. So I'm definitely like on the same wavelength as you. Is like that's really really a lot of people don't think of it that way. A lot of people don't even think in that very cerebral, real way of like, okay, how can I sustain myself? How, like, I think a lot of people, they come in with absurd or outlandish expectations of like how much money they're going to make or how much they're going to
No,
produce, and then once you are like really in the bones of it, you get behind the scenes look of like, dude, there's no way I'm gonna be able to do this without doing this or without doing this. And like, even like I was wondering like, why
money
is it
shouldn't
what
even
now?
be the first. I said money shouldn't even be the first
Yeah,
thought.
not even money, but I'm
Right?
talking about even just like, oh, I'm gonna be able to get
Yeah.
published and do all this stuff and da da da. I'm gonna submit packages or I'm gonna do, and it's like, no, bro, that's not how it works. Like, you really have to like, one, you really have to hone in on your skills. Two, you really have to know how to put yourself out there in a real way for people to pay attention to what you're doing. Um,
Yes.
like some artists, like again, like DD Mark. I remember I asked him how he got his book published through Dark Horse. He was just like, I just DM'd the editor, and then that's literally what happened. I was like,
Yeah,
whoa,
that's what
damn,
I
that's
did.
crazy. Yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
saying, yeah, like that is the simple. That demystifies the idea of what you can do. You know what I'm saying? And like all you gotta do is just talk to these people, and then you'll get somewhere. And even like doing this, like doing the YouTube stuff or whatever, like I've been gotten conversations with bigger YouTubers to do things with them and stuff like that. And I feel like it's opening me to a different market that might help bolster up, even like if I don't like get to where I want right now, like I get paid off YouTube. And the money I get off YouTube, I've been able to utilize in order to reinvest in my comic book stuff. So all the times I buy comics is usually off of my YouTube AdSense, all the stuff, the equipment, like this microphone, for
Yes.
example, I bought off YouTube, all this other shit. So I'm like figuring it out and slowly learning what my role is and how I'm going to be able to utilize like the things that I've got going on to help benefit my end goal, which is to become a full-time published comic book creator like yourself, and or
Oh, okay.
you know what I'm saying? Like that's
So you
something I'm
do
trying to.
want a traditional, you want a traditional
Yeah,
career.
for sure. I mean, I literally print out books all the time. Like I have books. That's why I did like the Kickstarter. So I'm like, I don't want to be a YouTuber. Like that's not like my goal. Like I don't want like
Yeah.
but what I want to do is I don't want to be Marvel or DC. I want to do like what Bone did, like Jeff Smith, where he went through like Scholastic. I want to go to like a big publisher and like that's how you get your books in like the bookstores. That's how you get your comics in the New York Times bestseller list and really get eyes, like real eyes, because they're not
Mhm.
curating your book. They're not marketing your book as a comic book. They're marketing your book as a graphic novel or like a real book. Like I want my books to be in the like what are those
That's a
things?
different, that's a different,
Damn, what are those things? Book fairs. Like I want my books to be at the book fair. I want my books to be at the library and shit like that. Because I was watching this one interview with this creator. His name is what the fuck is it? It's Kyle Baker. And he used to work at like Warner Bros. As an animator. He's done a bunch of his most popular comic he did was Plastic Man. He has a very like cartoony animation style, but it's really, really good because he has the ability to like really because he works animation, so he has the ability to draw on a lot of different type of styles and stuff. So I was
yes.
watching an interview with him and he was like, what you need to do is find a certain niche that nobody's looking at or and hone in on it. So he's like, I'm gonna do a bunch of history books, like a history comic books, and that's gonna be sustainable for my financial things so I can. So he did like books on like King David. He did books on like I think like a Black History one and all this other stuff. And those books are books that libraries are going to buy. And those are the book that's how you get your real money and stuff like that. Like these are avenues that people aren't even looking at. Or like my mentor, Brian Moss, he's a freelance artist, but he also does like commercial work and he makes comics as well. He's like
Yeah.
published like Abrams. He's done I don't know if you know who Rema is. He's a what is that shit called?
It sounds
Afro beats
familiar.
artist. He's an Afro beats artist. He did the cover art for him. He does like a lot of stuff, and he makes his money off of getting grants from his local art like community. Like he'll do like workshops for like a school or do like workshops for like a local community center, and then they'll pay him to do it, and then also they'll give him the funding to get like the supplies and all this other stuff, and then he'll have
Yeah.
money left over to like help sustain like whatever else he has going on. And
That's
he's like
interesting.
he's trying to put me on to, or I'm gonna try to like talk to him more about like trying to do stuff like that, to where it's like there's ways to get money like to circumvent the comic book industry, like because the biggest holdback is like time and then the money to like pay for your time to do this stuff, because like if you have to work a 9 to 5, there's a lot of people's like, especially in the indie space, that takes a lot of people's time away from being at the table or drawing or whatever. But if you're able
Yes.
to find these avenues that aren't just like, oh, I'm gonna go to a comic convention and I'm gonna freaking try to like talk to whoever can. It might work for you, it might not, but if you're able to get the money that you need and just start doing it yourself and just keep doing it and doing it, and you're not like losing any money or like paying up front and going into crazy debt, that's another sustainable. And these are like the ways that I've been looking at and thinking about. And I mean, like even like the YouTube thing, like yeah, it just like it might not be sustainable, and I don't expect it to be sustainable at all because it is finicky.
Yeah.
Like right now, for example, I have almost like 14K, 15K subscribers. But the views are inconsistent as fuck. Like, and that's just because of the algorithm. Like subscribers, just like followers on Instagram, they don't matter no more. It's just like I don't even honestly, I have no idea still. And I've been doing it for like 2 years. I still don't really know what to do to make this stuff work, in a real way.
I
But
mean,
it
they
is
do matter, but the the audience don't value it the same because we grew up on YouTube, so we subscribed. These
mhm,
audience grew up with YouTube in a sense to where it was already relevant, where they didn't really have the sense to subscribe. It's just something they just watch.
mm,
So it's a
yeah,
difference in terms of like that goes back to like this digital market moves so fast, right? So it, in order to be up to speed, you kind of miss out on things as they kind of if you're not actually really tapped in terms of the market and how fast it's moving, you'll kind of you can you can really one miss opportunities, but also stay stagnant in old ways.
yeah,
Because hey, YouTube is definitely a different ball game than what we grew up on, and that's just
Mhm.
because the audience is
Different.
completely
Yeah, that's
different
true.
mindset, completely different, right? The generation that grew up on it, they don't value, technology like we did because we didn't have much of it. So they grew up with it. So it's just another thing like, okay, subscribe. What does that mean to them? They don't really understand the
Yeah.
value of subscribing, right? So our like Redbox, our fucking
Yeah, yeah,
subscriptions,
yeah.
they
Yeah, what it
don't
actually means.
understand. So
Yeah, like,
that's where you get that disconnect in the ratio because
hmm,
it's
for sure.
diluted now. It's very diluted. So I think that's why streaming has kind of been the next wave because it's real time, right?
Yeah.
It's no longer AdSense or subscribe. You're
Hmm.
watching in real time. You're donating real time. You're connecting with them real time, and who knows what's next, right? So we'll have to kind of
Yeah, I know. I
see
think I
how
think
fast.
streaming is about to hit its. I think it's about to hit its peak because a lot of those guys are starting to get more corporate and become. They're changing the streaming from what it was like an like a organic thing to like Kai Cenat, he's doing like shows, you have like celebrities and stuff. It's pretty much like the new like Jimmy Kimmel at this point. And I think
Yes.
that it's cool because obviously for him, like from what he did, how he was able to build that up. But I think it's people like the organic feel of things, and then once it gets too corporatized and stuff like that, it stops becoming fun or like interesting, and then it kind of just people will move away. Like the organic growth that came from a move away. Like I don't know, like like SoundCloud, like
Yes.
were you up on SoundCloud? Like it was really big when I was in high school, when you were in high school, and then once like you started realizing, oh wait, these record labels are actually owning all these artists. They're not independent, like random you and me type guys just rapping or singing and putting their stuff out. It died. That platform's gone now. Nobody fucking. I mean, people post on it still, but it's not the same thing anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's
Yeah,
just
timing is
yeah,
everything, right?
yeah,
We're no longer in the traditional market, just the traditional marketplace. The digital marketplace moves 10 times as fast.
uh-huh.
So timing is more so important now in trying to be ahead. So you always got to try and think 10 steps ahead, and really try and predict where the market may be moving, or predict by seeing the actual, the audience, like the readers, the companies, what the traction is right now, staying up to date on everything, because that's also where you get that disconnect from older generations, right? They don't
yeah,
understand a lot of how this stuff, even simple stuff, how this stuff works. It's very
yeah,
simple, but they're so
yeah,
disconnected because their mindset is in that stuck in that time frame. So you kind of just
yeah.
gotta try and stay up to speed.
So you DM'd an editor from Mad Cave in order to get like work with them?
Well, y- yes and no. So I DM'd an editor. James Emmett is an editor at Mad Cave, senior editor. This was about 2 years ago. Um, so I've been kind of submitting my work for about 2 years to him
Okay.
directly, through the DMs, right? So Mad Cave in general, and this goes for pretty much any editor. They're all on social media. Something that you just gotta search them up and find them. Like they
Yeah,
all
okay.
got, whether it's
Mhm.
for the worst or for the best. In a lot of cases it's kind of the worst, but but you find them, you stay professional, stay with the vision. Don't worry about all of the personal aspects, even if it's social media. So a lot
Mhm.
of people still use it personally, and especially editors here in America, they're not as the editorial here is not as professionally developed, as the Japanese industry. So,
Mhm.
um, you know, a lot of their social media, they use it as just regular social media, so
Yeah,
like
yeah,
how
for
it's
sure.
supposed to be. So, but yes, I reached out to him and I submitted my work, and then from there, um, I didn't really. I found out that he was an editor for a Pacific imprint within Mad Cave, and that imprint just didn't really work with my work and my vision and kind of what I wanted to do. So I kind of left it alone for a while. Then I still ended up kind of, I didn't burn the bridge. I kept submitting, work to him. But eventually he kind of directed me to a different editor,
Mhm.
that, my work may cater to or work with a lot more. And this is all around the same time as when Mad Cave opened up their manga imprint.
Okay.
So it kind of fell in, kind of just really just fell in place perfectly in terms of timing wise. But yeah, they opened up their their imprint, and my work was already in their kind of their folder, how they work in terms of they have open submissions. They
Hmm.
also they do open like they have yearly talent hunts, but he kind of told me I asked these questions when we met over a call like this. It's kind of how you guys go over the submission, so I know, for future reference, how kind of the process and how long it may take. And they do it every, I believe, 4 weeks. Every four
Hmm.
weeks, they do they go over a submission or go over a stack of submissions, the entire editorial, and kind of to see who they gravitate to. So an editor, that editor saw that, and they reached out and they liked my
Nice.
work. I submitted my work directly. After that, in terms of my kind of new work, I was working on like Holy Ark and Garden Reborn, but that editor didn't really gravitate to my work either in terms of they like skill wise, I'm there. They kind of commended me on that, but the actual work itself and is my work is my work tends to disconnect with certain female editors, right? So this editor I'm referring to is a female editor, and my work is very hyper masculine and very I pride myself on I don't my work doesn't resonate with everybody. So especially from a female perspective, in a lot of cases, they may not gravitate to my work. So my work is really geared towards a male audience, and I gear it towards males, strictly males. Luckily, the editor I'm working with now is a female, but she's into that type of work, right? So, um, that's just sometimes you got to know, you got to learn something about the editor. That's why it's always good to kind of meet them and also like video call, kind of see what they want. What are they looking for? I ask these questions. What are you looking for? What are you interested in? What do you read? You get a sense of their kind of their state of mind and their mindset and the type of work they're interested in. And yeah, I mean, and it also shows in what they're publishing, right? So the direction of what the imprint is kind of going in. Um, yeah, it also gives you an indication of, yeah, they're not really interested in one American manga much. They're more so focused on licensing a lot of manga from
Hmm.
whether it's Korea, China, Europe, or even Japan. And then the original work they do create is, I would say, it's very passive. It's not really anything, I would say, commercially viable, honestly, in terms of the market and the audience they're trying to cater to, which I, I guess maybe not, because I would assume that you're trying to cater to the mainstream manga market, which in the West is catered to. There's huge, whether it's either you cater to the shonen market demographic, or you cater to the shojo, which is more slice of life, more passive, not really action oriented work. Shojo, not, it doesn't even need to be like you know female oriented, but passive work, slice of life work. And then you got your shonen, your action, and it's kind of grouped into one.
Hmm.
But they're not really catering to, like, they're trying. Yeah, I see them trying to do different things and kind of stand out, but they're doing it in a way to where it's not competing. It doesn't compete with the actual marketplace right now in terms of the commercially viable aspect, and some
Yeah.
of the characters and some of just the work doesn't look like it will go anywhere, and or even
Mm-hmm.
grow an audience and our interest,
How did you
which
get on to Flash Gordon?
that artist, I mean, that editor reached out to me
Mhm.
because of that process. So that same
Okay.
process, my work was already in that kind of file. So she was looking at my work, and she had an opening, and she reached out and offered the opportunity. And I said, of course, yes, give it to me. Let's do it. So yeah, we started working from there, and yeah, she is into the shonen aesthetic, just shonen. Like, my work is geared towards, late teens, early 20s males, right? So
Hmm.
that's my demographic. That's all I focus on, So I grew up in that era of, I'm 22, so I feel like I'm very tapped into what is currently kind of the market is currently leaning to, and kind of what I'm into, and a lot of my generation is kind of into. I kind of cater to that, and I think my work has a lot of those elements. So she saw that, and she wanted to work with me just to kind of test the waters with an 8 page. This is just an 8 page short. So
Okay.
let me see.
Is it going to be like on the back of another issue or something, or is it going to be posted like on their website or?
This is within an anthology. So they have
Okay.
Flash Gordon has their license with Flash Gordon. They're doing two things with Flash Gordon. Well, a handful of things. So, but
Mhm.
so they got the main series of Flash Gordon. They got the reprints of the original, and then they got the anthology, which is more experimental
Yeah.
ideas, where they give you the freedom to try and reinvigorate something, trying to get something right. So
Mhm.
that's where they test the waters in terms of what direction they can take the Flash Gordon license in. So with that approach, I came in with something that I think I can try and reinvigorate the character Flash Gordon in a way to that appeals to my generation, my audience, right? So that's my mindset coming into it, while also staying true to the core
Nice.
characteristics of Flash Gordon, but definitely this is all exclusive information too, or not really exclusive, but no one's really seen this yet. So, but this is my version and my approach to Flash Gordon, and and kind of my camera. I should probably flip it, but hopefully it picks up. Like I showed earlier, it's a sort of like a mecha story. So it's like Flash Gordon and introducing some mecha aspects with Flash Ultima, which is a new kind of like it's never been done before with Flash. I really don't know, but that's what I was told. The writer and kind of this idea. I've never seen it. I'm not that versed with Flash Gordon. I've done my some of my research in terms of I know it's a pioneer in terms of the sci-fi,
Fire. Mhm.
space opera in terms of like it actually inspires Star Wars and Guardians of not Guardians of the Galaxy, but um, you know Star Lord in general is based off of
Yeah.
Flash. So
Nice,
Han
man.
Solo, that theme, I try
Mhm.
to
The character
try to
arc.
stay within that kind of character theme. I'm actually going to this is not really completely 100% my vision in terms of what I really want to do. My next pitch that I'll be pitching for after I finish this, concerning like Flash Gordon, will be more shonen, a lot more shonen, yeah, and we'll focus. It'll take some elements in terms of the mecha aspect, and really, I think I can do something kind of
Nice.
interesting with Flash Gordon, and I got some other license opportunities with them as well. But in general, this is kind of my way of building myself up to that image, which is where I really want to do my have my career. If I have my career here in America, it's got to be at image.
Nice, man. That's what's up, man. So, before I let you go, because we're
Yes.
going crazy right now. It's a great conversation so far, man. It's been great, man. Great
Oh
time.
yeah.
Um, what's next? So, like, I know you said so you're trying to you're gonna try and do more stuff with Mad Cave.
Yeah.
What's next with like the holy art stuff? Are you gonna be able to? Because I know there was a big gap between issue 1 and issue 2. Um, like, are you gonna try to do that more often as well as try to work with Mad Cave? And then, yeah, like what's next? Essentially, is kind of what I'm
Yes.
kind of
So
surmising at this point.
yes, there was a gap in Holy Ark because Holy Ark was supposed to be my self publishing series, and it still is. But I wanted to submit it as well to which I did. I did submit it to Japanese Newcomers Award in terms of Kodansha, kind of
Mhm.
focus on breaching that market as well. Um, but yeah, so the gap was just because I didn't know exactly the route I was going to take in terms of like I stopped Holy Ark to focus on other one shots, and pitch other ideas, um, in terms of the Newcomers Award, just because they don't take like pre-series. Like pre-series, they that's typically not the route, and typically not the way. You have to kind of create something new with that, that editor. And then if you want to come back to that idea, if you get the serialization, when you get the serialization, then you can re-pitch. Then you pitch an actual series. Um, so I'm still focused on growing and building my just my um, damn had a just growing my
Like
actual
portfolio and stuff.
um, reputation. So I, I
Okay.
need I need a I need to grow my actual it's a better word for it, but my credibility. Yeah, there you go. So my credibility in terms of that market. So I need to stack up newcomers awards. So while I'm doing that, I'm not gonna wait on self-publishing Holy Art. So I will continue to self-publish it, and just work on one shots on the side, and kind of scale down my one shot stories, because you don't have to do um, 30, 60 page one shots.
Yeah.
A lot of the awards that were even above my newcomers award were 8 to 9 pages. There
Mhm.
are a lot of them that were really short, straight to the point, and told you exactly what this character, who this character was, and his in that character's story, right? So I'm taking that approach, and then I'm using my work for hire connection with Mad Cave to again further kind of grow in this market, while also using it as a revenue stream, to eventually, if I were to get a series, because Mad Cave pays very well and is very professional. um, I'm getting 150 per page just for this project, right? And
Nice, man.
that's just the inks, like just the storyboard and inks, the finishes. So storyboard finishes, that's sustainable in this current situation I'm in, right? So with my living expenses, and I'm roommating, so all I would really need is a series of 20 page a month series, greenlit, even if it's a mini series, and I can quit my job, right, my day job, and kind of start building full time. And when I actually achieve that, then I can actually expand on even more, juggling multiple different works in terms of different my creator owned work is my priority, right? So
Yeah.
everything I do in terms of work for hire is to directly benefit my creator owned work. So I'm not a creator. I'm not even a work for hire artist. Like I really um, I'm not a work for hire type of artist. So this idea is even Flash Gordon is I'm trying to reinvigorate it in a way that benefits me as an artist, benefits my career, while of course staying true to the source material. But it needs to say Young Wavy. It doesn't, like it needs to the story needs to scream Young Wavy, and not scream Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
in that sense, in order for me to actually benefit, like I can't just walk in and do what's already been done and expect to go somewhere with this Flash Gordon, which a license in general isn't. It's short term. They don't. There's no real long term gain unless you do, make it your own in a
Yeah.
sense. And there's good and bad comes with that in terms of if you can do it. It depends on the execution, right? So, but yeah, I mean, there's some other projects um, I was told. So Flash Gordon license is about a year in, like in terms of like when the license expires.
Hmm.
So if they don't renew the license, I'll be working on the Phantom,
Nice.
which is another, I guess
Yeah. Old
is
school
that
character.
Golden Age? Is that Golden?
Yeah, it's
Does
like
that
that's
count?
those are like I think the Phantom might be even be like a radio show thing before comics. It might be like around Golden Years. They
Yeah,
have a lot of the older licenses. A lot of
yeah,
that's like the name of the game for like indie like publishers to sustain their finances is to buy
yeah,
old IPs and try to resell them because it's easier to resell that stuff because it already has like a marketplace. Whereas like
yes.
if you try to keep selling like we were talking about earlier, if you keep trying to sell in like creator owned stuff, it's really harder to get people to give a fuck about creator owned stuff compared to something that they already care about. That's why there's always rebates or reboots all the time. But
And
yeah, man, I'm gonna let you go though, man. We had a great
yeah,
conversation. I
all
really
right, we're gonna
appreciate
need a
you
part
giving
two
me
for
your
sure.
time. Yeah, we're gonna do that part two for sure. Hopefully we can figure out the camera things. We can get more on camera, the drawing stuff, because you're a talented artist, and I know that um you say you don't want to do work for hire, but I think you could definitely benefit from doing like covers and stuff. Like if people hit you up to do like variant covers and stuff, I think you could probably make a quick couple bucks doing that stuff too to help with your budget, what you need to get. Because that, I mean, that's a lot of people. A lot of people do that on the side. So I think you could do that. Like you have really good like design aspects too, especially with like your mangas, your own books and stuff.
Thank you.
But yeah, I really appreciate you for stopping by. Everybody go be on the lookout for Holy Ark. It will be on Amazon here soon, hopefully. Go follow Young Wavy on Instagram. That he has a fantastic art. Yeah, man, I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.